You have 3 deadlines, a sink full of dishes, and a gym membership you're paying for but not using. You know you should get up. You physically can get up, but you are currently lying on your bed, scrolling through 15-second videos of people power washing driveways, feeling completely paralyzed. You aren't lazy. You aren't broken. You are just a victim of the most powerful neurochemical hijacking in human history. See, for years, pop psychology told us that dopamine is the pleasure molecule. We thought it was the party drug in our brain that makes us feel good. But that is a total lie. If you look at the neuroscience, and I mean really dig into the studies from people like Dr. Robert Sapolsky or the Stanford Labs, dopamine has almost nothing to do with pleasure. It has everything to do with craving. It is the itch, not the scratch. It is the biological whisper that says, if you just do this one thing, then you will be happy. And right now, your brain is drowning in it. We are going to debug your brain right now, but we need to stay connected to do it. Hit subscribe so we can hack the system together. Future you is already thanking you. Chapter 1. The molecule of more. Let's get the definition right. Dopamine is the molecule of more. It evolved to keep us alive. 100,000 years ago, if you found a berry bush, you needed a chemical kick to make you eat as many berries as possible before a bear showed up. You needed to be obsessed with the pursuit. The problem is, dopamine shuts off the second you actually get the reward. Have you ever ordered something on Amazon, tracked the package for 3 days, felt totally excited, and then opened the box and felt nothing? That's the dopamine crash. The thrill is in the hunt, not the catch. Chapter 2. The prediction error? Wait, so we are just wired to be permanently dissatisfied? That sounds exhausting. It's worse than that. We are wired for unexpected rewards. This is called reward prediction error. If you push a button and get a cookie every time, your dopamine eventually stops firing. It gets bored. But if you push a button and sometimes get a cookie and sometimes get nothing, your dopamine goes nuclear. This is exactly how slot machines work, and it is exactly how TikTok and Instagram work. You swipe, you see a boring video. Swipe, boring. Swipe, boom, funny cat video. That unpredictability spikes your dopamine higher than any guaranteed reward ever could. You are literally gambling with your attention span. Chapter 3. The pain-pleasure seesaw. Okay, but why does it make me feel like garbage afterward? If it's exciting, shouldn't I feel energized? No, because the brain demands balance. Imagine your brain has a seesaw. On one side is pleasure, dopamine. On the other side is pain. When you flood your brain with cheap dopamine, porn, sugar, scrolling, you tip the seesaw hard to the pleasure side. But the brain hates being off balance. It wants homeostasis. So, to level it out, it doesn't just return to the middle. It slams down on the pain side. This is why you feel anxious, irritable, and empty after a 3-hour Netflix binge. That isn't guilt. That is a chemical withdrawal. You are paying the pleasure tax. Chapter 4. The cheap versus expensive dopamine. So we are just drug addicts then? Basically, yeah. But the source matters. There are 2 types of dopamine, cheap and expensive. Cheap dopamine is high spike, low effort. Video games, likes, donuts, it crashes hard. Expensive dopamine is low spike, high effort. This is the feeling you get after a cold plunge, or finishing a 10K run, or finally organizing the garage. This type of dopamine releases slowly and sustains you. The problem is, we live in a world of infinite cheap dopamine. Why would your brain want to write an essay, high effort, when it can just watch a reel, 0 effort? Your brain is efficient. It will always choose the path of least resistance unless you force it not to. Chapter 5. The motivation myth. This is where everyone gets stuck. We think we need to feel motivated to do things. We sit around waiting for the dopamine to strike so we can clean the house. Right, I do that. I wait until the mood is right. And that is why you never do it. Motivation is a liar. Biologically, action often has to come before the dopamine. You have to force the engine to turn over. You have to do the thing while you hate doing it. Once you start, the brain sees progress, and then it releases the dopamine to keep you going. You cannot think your way into right action, but you can act your way into right thinking. You have to drag your brain to the gym kicking and screaming. And only after you lift the weight does the brain go, oh, actually this feels good. Chapter 6. The burnout baseline here is the scary part about the modern world. If you constantly hammer those dopamine receptors with high stimulation content, your brain eventually fights back. It down-regulates the receptors. It's like shouting at someone. Eventually, they go deaf to protect their ears. If you are overstimulated all day, simple things like reading a book, watching a sunset, or having a slow conversation feel incredibly boring. You have fried your receptors. This is what we call anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure from normal things. You aren't depressed, you're just dopamine resistant. Chapter 7. The detox reality. So I've seen these dopamine detox trends. Do I need to go live in a cave for a week? I mean, you could, but you don't have to go full monk. The science on detoxing is debated, but the concept of resetting baseline is real. You need to allow yourself to be bored. Boredom is not the enemy. Boredom is the reset button. When you are bored, your dopamine baseline starts to recover. Your receptors become sensitive again. If you can go for a walk without a podcast or eat a meal without watching YouTube, you are healing your brain. You are training yourself to tolerate the quiet. And in that quiet, creativity actually starts to come back. Chapter 8. The ADHD Connection. Now we have to mention the elephant in the room. For people with ADHD, this system is naturally running on a different operating system. Their baseline dopamine is lower, which means they are constantly hunting for stimulation just to feel normal. That doom scrolling loop? That's self-medication. If that's you, trying harder isn't the answer. You don't need shame, you need strategies. Externalizing motivation, body doubling, high-intensity exercise, these aren't life hacks, they are medical necessities for your brain type. Chapter 9. The Here and Now. The ultimate trick that dopamine plays on us is that it is always future-focused. It is always about what is next, the next level, the next purchase, the next date. But happiness? True contentment? That lives in the here and now molecules, serotonin, oxytocin, endorphins. These are the chemicals of having, not wanting. You cannot dopamine your way to peace. You have to switch fuel sources. You have to stop chasing the horizon and actually look at the view. Chapter 10, Taking the Wheel. Look, you are never going to defeat dopamine. It is millions of years of evolution. It is stronger than you, but you can learn to drive it. You can recognize that the urge to pick up your phone is just a chemical itch, not a command from God. You can choose expensive dopamine over the cheap stuff. You can embrace the suck of doing hard things. We live in a world designed to keep you addicted, sedated, and scrolling. The most revolutionary thing you can do is put the phone down, look at the messy, boring world in front of you, and decide to live in it.